Is that all you've got?
Just getting started. Time to punch in.
I've got a wee surprise for you, lad.
A stew. Surprise.
You'll never defeat me, Major.
I just caught myself in a bit of a sticky situation.
Mag attack.
What's next on the agenda?
We put in the work to fight another day.
So that's 9 to 5 Warriors, a new toy line coming out, and it's all the brainchild of our friend Brandon Braswell. And Brandon's joining us today.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me on. Appreciate the opportunity.
Dude, that is the coolest thing ever. Like, I swear, if I wouldn't have, know that that's not me saying it, I would swear all of the nostalgia and all. Dude, it is perfect. And I don't go out seeking to buy new toys. I don't, like that's not my style. But that it goes directly into the nostalgia vein.
Thank you. It took a lot of work to get to that. Like I realize now my product is nostalgia. Like I'm a nostalgia pusher. But like it's interesting to work with modern artists. I'm like, no, can you try to like rough it up by hand or do something else to like try this, and give them art direction in the similar vein of like what made it that give us that like fuzzy feel that you can't really explain.
Right. For you, and for all of us,
Yeah.
at that age, the art is so cool. I can't draw. I'm not an artist either. I know that you can't, you said that you can't
No, I can't.
draw. So you had to do it. Like you had to explain to these artists from your imagination of what this was. Is it exactly what, like, is it
Yeah.
exactly?
That's the coolest part is like waking up to an email or just a new link and it's like Christmas all over. Like, oh my God, that was in my head. How'd you get it? Like, are you reading my mind?
Crazy.
Like
That-
the first thing was the trading cards. Well, first was really the animation that you might see on the website. Like it looks like a 90s cartoon. And the whole idea behind that was like, from day one, I wanted to make a toy, but I didn't just want to make any toy. Like I felt the best toys had story. So I can't create a TV show. I don't have Netflix in my back pocket. So the first idea was like, let's create like a 60-second montage, the intro to a show that doesn't exist. And that was the first product that I woke up to, like the storyboards being so perfect, like the first time I saw Picture Lock was just like colored, no sound, no nothing, and it was just like, oh my God, you're in my mind, bro, you killed it. Like that's it. Game over.
wow, dude, it looks. The voices are awesome.
Thank you.
Like, is it so? You said like about the toys. I know Dave was saying this earlier. He was we were talking about the fact, like, is it the toy? Was that the first idea? Is that like that was
Yeah.
it? The toy, and then everything trickled down from the toy.
So what's funny, like I'm surrounded by my collection now, but 9 to 5 Warriors started exactly the same way I started my collection is I walked into a toy store. Funny enough, I wasn't collecting toys. I just happened to be going to the diner next door and they had like an intercom system. So it was really busy. You wait in the diner. I mean, you wait in the toy store while you wait, to be called and have a table. So I walked into this store and like, whatever, waste of time. And I was like, oh my God, like I forgot this existed. Oh my God, I forgot this existed. Oh my God, I loved this toy when I was growing up. And I was just like hit with nostalgia, like
Wow.
back to back to back to back.
When
And that was like a sensation. That was 2012
oh
or
wow.
2011, maybe even. Yeah. And like from that exact moment, I was like, I want to create that sensation for the kids growing up today. Cause I don't see them with cool like new IPs. I don't see them working on any like fun stuff. I see a lot of our cool toys and TV shows being kind of like tossed into them, remade, but it doesn't have that same feel. And I
Right.
know it doesn't actually, I feel like that generation still hasn't really connected to them the way we have.
Right.
So like when I felt that sensation, I was like, I want to make a toy. I want to create that future nostalgia, basically.
Well, you did, dude. It's clearly you love that style, like the Food Fighters,
Yeah.
Barnyard Commandos, that vein, like that style of toy. Do you remember getting like? Were you specifically a collector of Food Fighters as a kid?
No, so I was born in 86. By the time I heard of Food Fighters, it was like 1993, funny enough. So it was already discontinued.
Yeah.
And one of like my best friends in school, every time I went to his house, his older brother had the Food Fighters. And so it was kind of passed on to my best friend. And I was just like fascinated by this toy. I was like, what is this? I want it. Like,
They were
sushi.
so weird.
Yeah.
They weren't like, they were soldiers, but it wasn't like army men, you know.
No.
It wasn't like He-Man. It wasn't like you know, that's just, it wasn't like that. And it was so weird, like, to see something like that. But it is so, is that what you saw when you went like to the diner? Is that, was it a food fight?
No,
Was it a different?
I saw Batmans. I saw everything, like just Terminators, like all these things that I'm like, I forgot this existed. But going back to 93 too, like what resonated with me, the food fighters were like for some odd reason, because it's not the coolest toy. Like looking back, you're like, what is this? But my personality too, I was very creative, and I used to like create like action figures out of my school supplies. Like I remember, for instance, Major Eraser, who's the main character in my new toy line. This is somebody I would actually create with this, with an actual eraser, stick a back in the eye, use paper clips as the arms and legs, and that was my weird action figure. So like
That's
food fighters was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
It's genius. And also, I would bring toys to school. Like, I would find anything, you know, whatever small toy I could bring and put in my desk. But then when the teacher saw it, boom, it was gone instantly. But you could just like be like, that's my eraser. What are you talking about? Then touch my eraser with a thumbtack and a cigar in his mouth. That's awesome. That's so cool. It is so cool. The art is really fun. Like, it is a nostalgic art, but it's new and it's fresh. I don't know how you accomplish that, but you did. It's both.
Thank you, thank you. So the packaging on the art is done by Turbo Pork. He's a super talented artist. Super Seven actually used him for majority of the reactive, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toy line. And then if you happen to see, my comic book, that's another artist. The trading cards is another artist that's different style too. The trading cards and the animation is very much like in vein of the 90s. So it's a little softer and cuter. Like Turbo Work is like gritty edge. And that was kind of like what I loved about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles artwork. Like it's gritty on the card. And then you have these like soft little toy faces. And it's like it didn't 100% match one to one.
Yeah.
And that's the vibe that I was going for.
Dude, I never thought of that. My brain doesn't think. My brain, whenever my brain thinks of, I rip it up. Awesome. But I did keep all my card backs though, so I did have at least that appreciation for the art, because my mom would be like, throw that away. I'd be like, no way. It's so cool. I'd be like, look, it's, and it was different than,
and the card backs was like something that you really dug into. Like for me, my best friend told me, like, when I showed him the first card back that I did, he's like, oh my God, this is like something I'd sit in the back of the car while my mom driving us home. And I just came back from the toy store and I'd sit and read all about it and dig into it.
Yeah.
And going back to like my importance of story, like this is pretty much until I have a TV show, until I have little things, like I'm trying to implement story anywhere and any which way, so all the character bios are super rich, all like the how they became, which are just pulled from the animation, which also shows it. And it shows like all 10 characters that I hope to, bring into fruition in the next year or so. But right now I'm starting with the core 4.
Oh, man.
So 2 on each side, basically.
I absolutely love it. I'm ashamed to admit that I am new to 9 to 5 Warriors. I mean, but the instant I saw it, I loved it. And I'm not a new toy buyer, but it's so easy to look at your line and say that just walks right into our whatever line we want, really. I mean, from that era, because it is from that era, because it's from you.
Yeah, thank you.
It is.
I'm the same. You see, my collection is all nostalgia, and I rarely get triggered by something new that's like, oh, I want that, because I just, there's nothing to hate. Like there's just an abundance of it now, new stuff coming out left and right, and I'm just like, I'm still just trying to recollect some of the things I either never had or just really were special. And when space is limited, like I'm just very selective of what I add to the collection. So I built this as something that I truly would want, especially as that kid in 93. This is made for him.
There's Nick out over
that's
there.
what I my room too, but it's the same for a kid of 42. It's the same. It's the same. But that should be the slogan for your, I mean, those toys, your toys, the 9 to 5 warriors, are the same if you're an 8-year-old, kid, or the same if you're a 40-year-old kid. It's
Yeah.
the same. It's that same exact feeling of nostalgia. The
Thank you.
same, and that's not easy to replicate. Even some of like the wrestling toys, like I saw. Sorry, I fidget with stuff. Sorry, Dave.
No worries.
But the like the wrestling stuff, I saw you have the Hasbro stuff.
Yeah.
You like all kinds of different things, and I think that is what our childhoods were like. It's
Yeah.
a word.
My collection is eclectic as hell. Like there's no rhyme or reason. And it's funny, the biggest toy line that like impacted, like everyone obviously sees Food Fighters because it's this thing, but Ninja Turtles was hands down like my blood. Like that is one thing that kind of prevented myself from actually collecting, because I knew if I collect Ninja Turtles, then my entire collection's Ninja Turtles. There's no like stopping. So
It's number one.
yeah, it was just the rich storyline, the movie, the karate, like everything just hit when I was a kid. I was just like,
You also said 86, right?
yeah, I was born 86. So by 88, 89, like I was prime 92. I was already like, I had every single one, My mom set up every birthday party that was a Ninja Turtle birthday party, basically.
Oh, dude, that's cool. And you've
But-
encapsulated that feeling into your toy line.
Yeah.
That's
So what's funny is I used when I didn't collect toys back then. So when I started collecting, it was for research purposes. I was like, let me see what it looks like in the back of a card, like back then. What was in the back of a card? How did they design back then? It really was. But then you're like, oh, I forgot that existed. That nostalgia. It's a new drug. You're like, oh, let me go on late night eBay like really quickly. It's for research purposes, I promise.
Don't worry about it. Don't look at that search history.
Terrible.
Now I
I'm
love
like,
that the back of your card has the whole line, because so many of the new lines don't do that. And that was the big selling thing. Yeah, on the car on the way home, looking at the figures, knowing what you have to still get. I love that.
I love too.
And the
I remember
card art,
those the catalogs back then too. Usually they're for vehicles, or they were in vehicle boxes. They like the Kenner like up and toy lines are coming up. I loved those as a kid. It was like, this is what I'm circling. This is gonna go to my Christmas list. So,
the card art's great, and that's like, so I'm kind of the same as you, 90s toys, and I do it mainly for the card art. That's why I'm a new unbox collector. I still have my things from when I was a kid, so I can still play with them. Kids can still play with them, but yeah, I'm all about the card art, and you really nailed that, hit that out of the park. So you got four
Thank you.
figures out now, 2 on each side. Which one?
Yeah.
The good guys are the office supplies, and the bad
Mhm.
guys are food from the break room, or can that intertwine?
So what's cool is that technically each side has one of the other. And the story is, so the water cooler commandos are the good guys, and as you imply, they're office supplies. But on the tail end of it is their Corporal Can, who's the communication specialist. And I chose a can because back then, like you stick a string in a can, and that was a phone, so a can of peanuts made sense to make him the communication specialist. But he was originally a break room bandit. And in the story is that he's a pacifist. He's like, whoa, this guy, Colonel Custard, who's the evil mastermind of the break room bandits, he's kind of crazy. He wants total office domination. He wants to stop until all humans are eradicated and like the food becomes the supreme being. And so that freaked him out. And so then he joined the water cooler commandos, and around the same time too, the two brothers, I don't have, unfortunately, all my prototypes are in China, so I'm like, I don't even have my actual toys with me anymore. But I do have two characters which are both pencils, and the story was that they stem from the same pencil. And Alan, who's like the main character in the story, he's the one that created them all. He's the office worker that's like the Toys R Us kid that never grew up, playing with things like me and creating these things until they actually came alive. He had his favorite pencil. It was like the perfect pencil to do anything. And the bully of the office, or the asshole, basically snapped it in half. Alan, being resourceful, fixed, like sharpened both ends and made, a perfect shorter pencil, which is Lieutenant Lead. And he's on the good guy's side. And then the other end was the double-sided pencil, which when you look at it, like, what does a double-sided pencil do? Like, what good use is that? You can never make a mistake. So again, with the rich storyline, like basically that character is number two. And he has that perfectionism and he feels like the pressure. He can never make a mistake. He's angry at his perfect brother who's still used every day. So he has like lone wolf mentality. And just because he's an asshole, he left. And even though he's part of the break room bandits, you could see him kind of like, scar skiing kind of thing. Like he always wants to be number one, funny enough. So he's always sneaking behind Colonel Custer's back and will try to outmaneuver Major whenever he can. So that's what's cool. But moving forward to new characters, Colonel Custard is the one that will create all minions along the way. So practically, I want to keep the core, office supplies, the good guys, and he might, make evil office supplies minions down the line because he sees like, oh, maybe I'll take out a racer with another racer kind of thing. But what's cool is that, yeah, the storyline is for infinite amount of characters, basically.
That
You
is
can
fun.
put-
It can grow endlessly.
And you could
Try.
put scotch tape in scotch tape.
Yeah. So, which is cool is that I always wanted him to have like a retractable toy mechanic in it, kind of like the Batman belts and stuff as we grew up. And like I wanted him to rappel up and down. And I knew for a fact that was not going to be for the first round, like wave one, maybe if it got popular, wave two could have more mechanics. And then it wasn't until I was doing a prototyping and had Major Eraser and then had Scotch tape, like literally, and I was like, oh my God, wait, like he's the same size. I could actually put tape in it. And as silly as it sounds, like that should have been like the idea from day one. Like that was a hidden, like, oh shit, it was like a happy mistake that it actually worked out. And he doesn't have one in there now, but like basically you pop off his arms, limbs, and take off the kilt, and yeah, you could pop in the standard issue Scotch tape.
Insane. That is insane.
And his character is like he's since tape is you're usually crafty with, you're fixing things. He's the mechanic of the group. So he crafts vehicles, machinery, weaponry, like whatever you can think of. Tech Sergeant Scotch is gonna fix it and or build it for the crew. So it's kind of cool. Like the crew is very mighty. It's always gonna be four basically because Corporal Ken's in the back end, coordinating it all. But it's always gonna be four versus the world basically. So they always band together and under Major Racer's lead, they usually come out victorious.
Like so many things nowadays, where Star Wars go, where a lot of things, it's the kids of the 80s and 90s are now in charge. Are they able to get their hands on the wheel? And you wrote kind of what you knew, and you know it, and you loved it, and you wrote it, and you could tell it just oozes out of the nostalgia in like the 90s.
Thank you.
Over it. Where can people get them now? Tell me toy stores, because we're a toy store guide.
Absolutely. So I literally just started reaching out to toy stores, and thankfully some of them reached out to me firsthand. We're still in negotiations of it all, but I can happily say I've delivered now to Bella's Books and Comics in Virginia Beach. Time Blaster Toys, that's in Michigan, I believe, right? I'm like they're on my list. I need to go visit because that store is awesome. And then In Demand Toys in UK. So I finally have like a UK distributor. There will be a lot more on the way. Like there's just all pending right now, but I'm super excited to release that full list later.
When did you start doing, like, when did you start to really make the toys? Like, how long ago was that?
So, the original vision came like 2012. I wanted to make a toy back then, but I had no idea where to start. Like, just I reached out to some of the toy makers back then, and the indie toy scene back then was very much art scene, the art vinyl, maybe minifigures as far as mass production ever went. No one was doing articulation except for Four Horsemen, and those were like, like that's why they're here today still with Mythic Legion.
Yeah.
So looking at that landscape, I just didn't know what was possible, and I'd be naive, like, oh, what factory did you like? Google, what can I Google? How do I make a toy?
Yeah.
And so like truthfully, I kind of lost steam and gave up because I started making everything else. I made comic books, I made the animation, I made the trading cards, the wax packs, I made like paper tanks and gliders, cereal boxes, like everything that you would see usually accompany a toy is what I made because I know how to do that. Like I know how to print stuff. I know how to manufacture that. That was pretty easy. But the toy was like just seemed insurmountable. So over time, I kind of lost steam and kind of gave up. And it wasn't until 2020 when the pandemic hit. My business at the time was in travel, and of course, travel died. So was like, let me go back into 9 to 5 warriors and really give it a shot this time. It's now been like 8 years. So what's changed? What can I do differently? And that's when I found Scott Hensley. So Scott Hensley is one of the main sculptors of my line, and that's where the nostalgia really comes in, because this man is behind literally like 90% of the toys I'm collecting. He's done Street Sharks. He's done all the bad guys for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's done Star Trek, Exo Squad. Like, he's done it all. And
Oh man.
tons of Happy Meal toys, which is like every time he posted, I'm like, you did that too? Like, what the hell? Like, you're a genius. I love it.
Wow.
And his Happy Meal toy experience is like, that's what made Commodore Crisp, who's the other bad guy in the Breaking Bad, perfect.
Not
Like,
gonna lie, that
this
one's
is a
my
character
favorite.
that literally splits into three, and it
Oh,
snaps in. So like, that's the genius of Scott. And like, he got the direction. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a challenge, Scott. Like, I need a character that breaks into three. I give him my ideas, which kind of included magnets or like kind of more over the top. But he came up with this, and I was just like, what? He blew my mind when I received that email, email update. And I was like, oh my God, you did it.
wow,
And
dude. That is insane. That is the guy.
yeah,
That's
yeah. So
wow. He pulled
he
it out of your brain.
yeah, he fished it out. So yeah,
Oh,
2020 is
wow.
when it fully went in, and I did a Kickstarter back then with just Major Eraser and Colonel Custard. That failed. I didn't know how to market it, and like I don't know, a million excuses, but I'm glad it failed because they actually turned out so much better than the, like, looking at what the prototypes was. I'm like, I see it's kind of, they're really like hand done. It's like no revisions, no refinement. It's like straight from Scott's scalpel and
Oh,
like thrown onto Kickstarter. So from there, that's how you got these guys. And I worked with a digital artist to clean up, but retain Scott's like little imperfections, which make it special. I feel like doing it by hand, you literally are, he's crafting it out of nothing. He's putting all his energy and creativity into the figure to execute it. And I feel like that's what makes it that special feel yet again.
And
wow. That's
you-
so cool.
you're telling me in 4 years, you went from 2020 and we're at the beginning of 2024, you went from a failed Kickstarter to being in the Toy Book's 40th anniversary
See,
on the same page with Hasbro, Playmates Toys, Nacelle, Super 7.
honestly, I got goosebumps. I didn't even like realize that, dude. Like,
Like,
it's pretty magical. Yeah. I've been trying. I mean, in my mind, I see it as 12 years, or like I've seen it as all, but like truthfully, yeah, I've been really at this since 2020. And yeah, thank you for that reminder. Yeah. That's kind of a mind-blowing experience that like I'm featured.
Was
That's
that
that's what
breaking
hit
news?
me.
Was that breaking news?
No, it's just like when you're in the midst of this all, it's hard to like absorb it all. Like literally this week or this past month has been so intense. Like they're
Oh,
finally shipping. I was waiting for the cargo to arrive. I was praying that it didn't get damaged. I'm praying that like there's so many things in my mind. And then I woke up to Toy Book. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm on Toy Book. But like the
wow.
years kept on going that I really didn't sink it in. But as you said, like it's only been this many years and it's like it's happened. So thank you for that, because yeah, man, like I've been busting my ass trying to make this a thing. So
Wow. Oh, it's deserved, dude.
thank you,
There's
thank you.
no doubt. There is no doubt. Like, I could never create that. Never. And I mean, I could appreciate how awesome it is. I mean, I love stuff like that, but I can't create that. No way. No way. I love it though. I love it. I can't wait, man. Now that I know, like, I've seen it before. I'm horrible. I'm not gonna lie. I am the worst social media person ever. Like,
No,
I see this and I like it. Like, that's awesome. That's awesome. But like, that's about as good as I get. You know what I mean? But now it's a different ballgame. Like,
thank you.
I can't wait to see the next thing you post.
Well, that's the beauty of toy stores, and I want to get into that. Like I think I mean I'm a great marketer. I'll say that much. You'll see my videos everywhere, but like it doesn't give that same sensation. It doesn't give that same feel until you see it in person. And that's like the beauty of toy stores and mom and pop stores, that like supporting the indie scene that like, yes, you can keep bringing in the popular top sellers because you know they're gonna fly, but like those that are taking a chance on me right now, I'm like so grateful for, because you are going to walk into that store and you will see this amongst the other legends and other, you know, nostalgia things. And you probably will think twice, like, when did this come out? Like, did this
Dude,
come out? I missed it.
that's how I felt when I saw Hunting Nostalgia on the TV Guide.
Damn it.
Honest to God, that's the same. I mean, that's the same, like, you know, gratification. It's like, holy crap, I'm on the same peg next to G.I. Joe. I'm on the peg next to Star Wars. That is crazy. Crazy. That's the same, like, that's my art making TV as your art creating that toy. Gee, man, it's nuts. It really is.
And I'm gonna go. We know that me and Nick, we like to go to toy stores, and yeah, the first time I'm in a local toy store and I see 9 to 5 Warriors, I'm picking them up and I'm going to start saying things. Oh, this is my buddy Brandon. I'm going to start that. But for anyone who doesn't have a local toy store, or if they're not in their local toy store, what's the website where they can where they can order them now?
So it's 9to5warriors.com. It's 9, the number TO5, but I also bought 925 just in case for those people that it redirects. But 9to5warriors.com, very easy. The little thing right there. Pink.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, like as I said, I just appreciate any opportunity to speak about the project, and being on podcasts or any exposure just helps. Like, I just love talking about it. Like, I get lit up expressing my joy of it. And it's awesome to see people that never spoke with me or never even held a toy still kind of beam that same energy just by looking at the ads or just looking at the photos. I feel like there's something special, thankfully.
That's why it will succeed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you and good luck. And we're going to talk again soon, especially when Wave 2 starts coming around the corner.
That's the next mission. I don't know when that's going to start.
Man, I can't. I love it. I cannot wait. Great talking to you, man.
Likewise, man. Thank you again.
All right. Good luck, Brandon. Take care.
Finally, a reason to go back to the office. Introducing 9 to 5 Warriors, an exciting new toy line created for the Toys R Us kid that never grew up. Offering 10 unique characters that are perfect for your cubicle or home office. Join the battle alongside Major Eraser and the Water Cooler Commandos as they keep the peace. Or wreak havoc with Colonel Custard and the Break Room Bandits. Choose your side as these two forces clash over total office domination.
It happens every day from 9 to 5.
Warning, do not leave unattended. Each figure sold separately. When you punch out, they come punching in.